Welcome back to the Millennial Classics, y'all, with Q and Burry. On this podcast, we talk about the best and most memorable movies, music, and culture-changing events from our generation. Mumbury, how you doing today?
What's good? Doing pretty well.
Mumbury, this is something new we're doing, right? Not new because it really isn't new. It's kind of old, but this is different that we're doing. Please explain to the folks exactly what this next few weeks, next few months journey is going to be, and where are we starting?
We are doing the Harry Potter series, baby.
Yes.
1 through 8, all the movies. We're going to sprinkle on some other stuff. We might talk about the spin-off movies. We might talk a bit about the books. We definitely will.
Yep.
But this is going to be a series where we go all the way back to the core tenets of what it means to be a millennial classic by going back to the core franchise of what it means to be a millennial classic. I don't know what's in the running. The only other thing I can think of, maybe Transformers.
No, but Fast and the Furious started in 2000.
Fast and Furious, 2000.
Yep. Transformers is not a bad one, but it is a bad series after 2.
I am directly below the enemy scrotum.
There's not really a lot. And then obviously none on this scale. You could say the Marvel.
I was about to say that. Would you say the Marvels? Because that shit, I mean, if that's not millennial, then I don't know what is. Because it truly is like the biggest thing in our generation. And it actually kind of started in the 2000s.
I would just say, I think now there's a lot of fatigue. There's a lot of superhero fatigue. I think there's a superhero that just came out 3 weeks ago called Blue Beetle. I've never heard of this motherfucker.
Never.
But it's a superhero movie, like a huge budget, $100 million plus budget. Warner Brothers dropped it, and it dropped like a stone. Didn't make any money. It's going to lose Warner Brothers a lot of money. Flash, which would have been one of the most hyped movies of the year, marketed like one of the most hyped movies of the year, was a complete dud this year.
Yes, it was.
We have Captain Marvel 2. Now, the other two are Warner Brothers, so you could say that they just make bad movies. But Captain Marvel 1 was a huge hit, made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Captain Marvel 2 seems like it's going to be the lowest opening in a long time. So you're seeing this across all superhero movies, no matter the brand behind them. Meanwhile, Harry Potter just feels like it's kind of like The Office. It's just in the background, picking up steam, and obviously Harry Potter world is killing it.
But they are talking about a reboot. How do you feel about the fact that they're trying to do a reboot? Is it something you want?
It's not something I want. And also, it's so weird to me because they're essentially remaking the original series.
Exactly.
As a TV show. It's super weird because they already have the original movies and you can just watch them straight through almost like a TV show. I don't know how much. I mean, you can dig a little bit deeper. I don't know how much deeper you want to dig, and this movie does do a good job,
like for real,
skipping some boring parts.
Yeah,
and it still has some boring parts in it, and it has a lot of setup for the future movies in this. Like I think some of these episodes would be really bad.
It'd be rough. I don't know if maybe a continuation, maybe like a different character, maybe I know they tried with the past with the Fantastic Beasts and all of that stuff, and it really didn't hit as well as it should have. But
it came down to a family tree, bro. That Fantastic Beasts 2 might be one of the worst experiences I actually went to a movie theater to see, because I was actually watching the movie being like, I'm trying to picture a family tree in my head. Who's the uncle? I'm trying to see who's related to who. It's just honestly one of the worst movies. I didn't even see 3.
How do you feel about Fast and Furious being the franchise for our generation versus Harry Potter? And why wouldn't you pick it?
I will say this, Fast 5 is better than any Transformers and any Harry Potter movie. That one movie.
Any Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, that one movie. Now, if we were taking the franchise as a whole, there's some really low lows.
Yeah.
And Harry Potter is the most consistent out of all the franchises we have.
And it's consistently good or better. In my head, I don't remember not liking a Harry Potter movie. Is there one that comes to mind for you? Is there a Harry Potter movie you don't like?
I honestly think this is my least favorite one.
Oh, wow. If this is your least favorite one, then Harry Potter is...
Yeah, 4. See, 4 is my favorite book. So I give it a little bit of props for the movie.
This strapping young lad must be Cedric, am I right?
5, I feel like they start hitting their stride towards the end.
Yeah.
3, I think, is the best one, at least the best made. 2, I think I just like the darker vibe than this one. Yeah. I like the whole Chamber of Secrets. This movie kind of feels like it's a school movie, and then they shoehorn, oh shit, at the end, there's a dog and there's a Philosopher's Stone, and we're supposed to be doing this. And But yeah. I just think I think Fast and Furious is the peaks are higher. I think this one's more steady.
Yeah.
I will say, when we're talking about how do we feel about the spin-offs.
Oh, yes, that was the question.
And I just want to say that it's so crazy to go back. It's like, you know how they keep on making like new Star Wars movies? It'd be super crazy if they were like, we're going to go back and remake 4, 5, 6.
Exactly.
That's the weird part about it, because there's so much. It's like a Harry Potter world, Wizarding world. It's so unique. Nothing else is like it. You could just make some other shit up.
I don't want to step on your recasting or your remakes, but like the remake that you talked about in our last Harry Potter review.
What was it?
Like you were talking about, you said you wanted to be Quidditch related, Quidditch focused.
Oh yeah, I'm still doing that.
Oh, okay, so then let me not step on that.
No, we can talk about it now. But
that's my point. Is it's like, why not, instead of Hogwarts, why don't we talk about a different wizarding school?
U.S. Exactly. Let me go to Uganda. Let me see them chasing down gay people, gay wizards in Uganda.
J.K. Rowling would be the fucking poster.
Yo,
you're a monster, Bobert. That's such a good point. The world is
so rich.
It's so rich, and it's like they developed it so much that starting at a different school or talking about a different generation or whatever would be so much better than trying to redo it.
Could you imagine if Hamas had wands? Crazy.
Can you stop?
All right, let's just talk about my spinoff, because we're already talking about it.
Please do.
Essentially,
yes.
So we know that there's this whole Wizarding world, and Warner Brothers wants to greatly expand the IP. My whole thing is, let's make it a little bit lighter, right? Kind of like Friday Night Lights meets Quidditch, right? Meets Ted Lasso, okay? And it's a TV show.
Once you said Ted Lasso, I'm hooked.
Coach, I thought of a joke this morning in the shower. What does a British owl say? Coach, what's a British owl?
It's a TV show about a former Quidditch pro, one of the best to ever do it. Goes back, he's half English, half American.
Mm-hmm.
The USA Quidditch official team recruits him to put together a squad to challenge for the 2026 Quidditch World Cup, baby.
Say less.
So the first season would be him recruiting, getting people to switch teams, getting the young guy, getting the old guy out of retirement, getting the whole team together, and then teaching them how to play team Quidditch. Then the second season is them going through the qualifiers and doing all this stuff. And then the third season, final season, would be them going to the World Cup and winning it all, or not.
Yeah, I love it. And like, literally, you could have said anything besides, let's remake the fucking original Harry Potter, and I would have been yes. But this I love so much because it is different enough where it's not the same story in a different school, or the same story in a different country with different colored people, right? So this would be in the Wizarding world that's different enough. And I can see why they thought that the Fantastic Beasts would have been a good idea, because they did try to do something different. It just, after the first movie, and like even the first movie was like everyone was going to go see it because it's part of the Harry Potter world. But then after when the second movie dropped, it was like, we're just not into this. It's just not the same magic. It's not the same stuff. It doesn't have the same goodness.
And here's the thing, all right, so that's just what I think I would like to see. But there's so much stuff. If you're doing a TV show, you can have a TV show like a procedural about Aurors, right? Like a mini series about Aurors, just getting really into the nitty gritty of catching dark wizards.
Exactly.
Everyone would fucking love to see that. Even if you
for real though.
Yeah, even if you just had other Aurors, like during the rise of Voldemort, and you just had it from the Aurors perspective, knowing they're going to lose at the end, but just having like them trying to stem the tide against like the dark evil that's rising up. Even that would be sick. And it ends with Voldemort dying, that would be sick.
That really would be dope. That would.
All right. We've talked a lot about it.
No, of course. No, I hear you. But just a reminder for those who don't know, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It did come out in November of 2001, directed by Chris Columbus, and it's obviously based off of the books by J.K. Rowling. The Philosopher's Stone was his, or the Sorcerer's Stone, whichever you know it as, was released in the series in 1997. Before I hand it off to Maburi with the makings and ratings, let's get into the time machine, the Millennial Time Machine, so I can remind remind y'all what was happening at the time when Harry Potter first was released. Another reminder, November 2001. So, in the music world, the albums that released in November of that year, believe it or not, Michael Jackson released an album that year. Invincible, Britney Spears, who is now dancing with knives, God Save This Lady, Jesus Lord, released her album, Britney, which actually was a fucking banger. And then Pink was the other big album of that month of 2001, and it was Misunderstood, stood spelled with a Z, so it's misunder and with the Z stood. The movies that came out that month in November of 2001 was Monsters, Inc. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, Shallow Hal with Jack Black and Gwyneth
Love that
Paltrow.
movie. Love
you
that movie.
Actually? Yeah.
No, I don't, but it's just a good movie. It's solid.
It's a solid movie, but like when I was looking it up, because I've never seen it, and then I just watched the trailer just so I can understand what this movie was about.
Ridiculous concept.
Oh, there she is. There's Rosemary. Where? Right there.
Is she behind the rhino?
20th Century Fox presents.
Haven't you ever heard the phrase that beauty is in the eye of the beholder?
It's an insane concept, and I don't know with like body positivity if that movie would be allowed for these days. Is it worth to watch?
Didn't the blonde woman do the same movie? Who's the blonde comedian that did like the LeBron movie? Amy Schumer. She did a movie exactly like that, right?
No,
where people can't see her the way she is.
No, yeah. Well, she did a movie where she hit her head and she saw herself different. Not that the dude hits his head or gets into an accident and sees other people different, right? Like, wouldn't like seeing yourself different? Isn't that like self-love versus seeing other different kind of like?
Yeah, that's true.
You're kind of an asshole. But like when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh my, this was they were making these kind of movies in 2001. Look how badass these people were.
He hypnotized you. You're saying that all the pretty girls I've met lately aren't really pretty.
Hal Larson is dating a vision only he can see.
Just to let y'all know, and I didn't know this because I was trying to dig a little deeper from the last time we did Harry Potter, but there was so much heightened like cautiousness and like awareness of the situation because of 9/11 that happened in 2001 that they were a ton of movies, and when I say a ton, like a ton of movies that actually had to go back and reshoot scenes, reshoot the actual plot of the movie because it was too reminiscent of what was the 9/11 attacks. And just to give you a couple of movies that came out the year after in 2000.
Can I tell you one?
Good, tell me
one. Let me hope this is on the Sum of All Fears.
Look, all I did was the most well-known movies from the list that I saw, so maybe, but I don't want to say no.
Okay.
But like I was so surprised when I was seeing this list. Number one on the list was Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man that came out in 2002. There was a scene in that movie where they were the bank.
World Trade.
Yeah, no, like the bank robber scene was in a helicopter, and something happened at the World Trade Center that Spider-Man had to use, so they had to change that part of the movie. Collateral Damage was another one. Men in Black 2, which shook me, that came out in 2002, and Zoolander, the comedy Zoolander had the World Trade Center, and they changed a scene or they delayed the movie.
First Jason Bourne was also delayed.
Yes.
And then Sum of All Fears is a movie that was supposed to come out later that year. They had to delay it, I think, almost a year.
Oh shit!
It was a Ben Affleck movie. The climax of the movie is that a nuclear bomb goes off in Baltimore.
Yeah, that's not a movie. It's not the movie that you want to be fucking.
That's not a 9/11 movie right there. That's all we'll say.
Yeah, let's not make that movie go out in 2001 after 9/11 plays a thing. Yeah, no. Television news, this is just per the usual. And I think these shows that I'm about to talk about have been the most popular for like at least 5 to 8 years. So if you've heard me say in the past, obviously, Friends, The West Wing, ER, and Survivor, the African version, were the most popular in 2001. And then in video game news, the Xbox was released in November along with Halo Combat Evolved. And I never mentioned this console in like maybe a decade, but the GameCube. Mumbury, did you play with the GameCube? Have you ever used the GameCube?
Dude, Super Smash Bros.
Oh,
Melee?
yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah, you're right. Excuse me. Yeah, it's because
Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Mario Sunshine.
And you said this the last time we had a millennial time machine, but like Nintendo is like the sneaky winner of every fucking situation all the time. But like,
no, they lost this one. They lost GameCube.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
so
then
the
they
GameCube,
changed
definitely,
they changed their strategy after this.
because
But
they can't keep up with like the big dog consoles. But if you switch it to the Nintendo Switch, then everyone wants that. It's cheaper, and then they have more
Nintendo Wii,
like,
or the point is you have a Switch and a PS5, or you have a
Yes.
Wii and an Xbox 360,
Exactly.
and they're not competing with each other. And
Exactly.
essentially, you buy the Nintendo console to play Nintendo games, then you buy the other console to play whatever.
And then I just have to mention the books, because part of this our Harry Potter like deep dive is that we're going to be doing both the movie and the books for the next 8 episodes that you guys see here. So I did just want to let you know that the top books of 2001 were The Corrections, Atonement, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants came out that year, which was huge. And when you look at this top 10 list, 3 of the top 10 were by Stephen King. Like, I don't know how prolific this man is when it comes to books, but that's insane, right? But 3 of the top 10 that year. And then when you look at all the years since, it's like Stephen King is, if he's not on the list, he's like, right underneath the list of the top 10. It's incredible. The dude is a maniac. He's a maniac. But ladies and gentlemen, that is your Millennial Time Machine. Mumbury, the makings and ratings, take it away.
We already talked about it. Chris Columbus did the first 2. Cuarón famously did the third one. And then I think the rest were all David Yates. And then he moved on to do the spin-offs too. These 2 are a bit different visual style, a little bit more cheerful, a little bit brighter than the next couple. Cuarón really changes it up.
Yeah, he does.
And
it's noticeable, but not so noticeable where you're like, this is a different series.
By the time you get to like 6, 7, 8, they take Cuarón's and then they fucking just like flatten it and make it mute. Yeah. And like the colors are just so gray and dark. But yeah, on a cheerful note, Chris Columbus did the first 2. The budget was $125 million. It made $1 billion. So hit right off the back.
2001, that's unheard of. Yeah.
81% Rotten Tomatoes. So critical acclaim. What more can you say? It's the biggest franchise, or one of the biggest franchises of our lifetime. Cast pretty stacked, unknown at the time. I mean, the first 3 because they're kids: Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Grint, Richard Harris played Dumbledore. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
They all did kind of different things afterwards. Rupert Grint's kind of just done TV.
I don't even know. I was literally
on an Apple TV show.
I was about to ask you, what has Rupert Grint done? Ron Weasley, for those who aren't aware, because I really haven't seen him in much, and it's hard to like, when these like child superstars, they do something so amazing like the Harry Potter series, it's not fair to be like, can you continue this ride? Because you can't, because it's the biggest franchise, like you said, of generation.
I just think you gotta go back all the way to the beginning. Like, what's his face did a really good job.
Radcliffe.
No.
Who?
Twilight guy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
But they kind of did the same thing.
Okay, I see.
And so did What's Her Face in Twilight. You essentially have to like throw all that shit aside and just do indie movies and critical acclaimed movies
until it hits
5-10 years, until people are like, oh, what's his face? He's actually a serious actor.
If I had a steak, oh boy, a rare, a bloody steak. If I had a steak, I would fuck it.
And then you can go right back to being like in bullshit movies and no one gives a shit. But if you try to go right from like Twilight to action movies like Taylor Lautner and Taylor Kitsch and all these guys, if that shit doesn't pop off immediately, then all of a sudden you're like you're a kids actor trying to do action movies and it don't hit.
It doesn't hit. And the worst part is, go ahead.
Whereas if you do those indie movies, no one even expects them shits to make money.
Exactly. And if it does, when it does, then they're like, oh, okay, so they can actually act. Because you're right. Like, if you are a director, it's like, I'm trying to build this picture, and then everyone is going to be looking at this dude as Harry Potter. They're not going to be looking at this person as the character in my movie. No one's going to take Rupert seriously in my movie. They're going to think of him as Ron Weasley, which is going to be taking away from my movie. So, like, I definitely understand. It's a really good point. And I think the Twilight actors probably have done it the best.
Emma Watson's done a pretty good job too, because she did like Bling Ring. She did like Perks of Being a Wallflower. Smaller movies, got critical acclaim. And she just went back and made a $400 million domestic fucking smash with Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. And she did Little Women with Greta Gerwig. That made a bunch of money. And, goes right back off. And you can just hang out with then. Daniel Radcliffe's been doing some weird, like, Akimbo, and he was just in Weird Al Yankovic.
Weird Al Yankovic.
Do I know you?
That's what he just did.
Yep.
He's on theater. That's another good one. Yo, you do some theater in England or Broadway, and people are like, yo, that dude's a fucking thespian. Maggie Smith played Professor McGonagall, everyone's favorite teacher.
As exactly,
she's a beast. Downton Abbey, that's where you can catch her. I once saw the Downton Abbey movie. Actually, I think I saw Downton Abbey 2 in theaters. I've never watched the show, and I'd never seen any of the movies. I was the only person under 45, 50.
Jeez, Lord. So I watched the first Downton Abbey movie, and I really enjoyed it, even without knowing anything about the show, which made me want to watch the show. But they have like 9 seasons, and I can't dedicate that much time to it.
She was in Gosford Park, which I really like.
What movie? What show?
Gosford Park. Gosford Park's a movie.
Okay.
It's a murder mystery in an old British Downton Abbey style. So if you like Knives Out, but want it to be more serious and less fucking everyone's got jokes, and you actually just want a straight up like murder mystery movie, watch Gosford Park because it's really good.
I got it on the list.
Harry Melling, who is Dudley. He's probably the most prolific actor now out of all.
Wait, shut the fuck up. Please do me a favor and go down his filmography, because that blows my mind, because I don't know what he looks like as an adult.
You know what he looks like as an adult. You've just seen him, and you've seen him in, have you seen The Queen's Gambit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The Queen's Gambit.
Oh my God.
He plays Harry Bellick.
Oh my goodness. Dudley with the fucking glow up.
Yeah. And then I just watched him in The Pale Blue Eye with Christian Bale. On Netflix. The Tragedy of Macbeth, Say Your Prayers, The Devil All the Time.
Good for Dudley. That actually makes me happy.
Yeah. The Lost City of Z, The Current War. So he's been pretty prolific. And then Robbie Coltrane, he was in an Ocean's movie, and he's a James Bond guy from The World Is Not Enough. Alan Rickman, everyone knows him. Hans Gruber.
Of course.
Die Hard, Legend. R.I.P.
Yep.
All right. Are you ready to just dive right in?
Let's dive right in. Let's talk about Harry Potter.
We got to talk about his living situation, man. Listen.
How can you not? Please.
I don't know. That shit is crazy.
It's insane. It doesn't make sense, bro. But
honestly, he has those Japanese capsule hotels. That's the vibe I get from his place. That's the vibe I get. Yeah. Japanese capsule hotel. Honestly, I could see in Japan they have like an understairs room to because they like this kind of Western culture shit. But I could see them doing this throwback to Harry Potter. But this is just, it has to be illegal. They treat him so badly. Every time I watch the movie, I'm like, they are actual pieces of shit. And I just don't know how child services doesn't step in.
Slip the other way.
Dudley jumps on the stairs. He walks down the stairs and he walks his crazy ass back up to fucking stomp on him.
Wake up, cousin!
The dad has him make fucking pork chops or whatever he's making, Canadian bacon for breakfast, and he's yelling about getting him coffee. Yeah. This shit is so crazy.
It's crazy. Like, that's your introduction to Harry after obviously the beginning of like the smoky street and Dumbledore handing him off, putting him on the porch. But like literally your introduction to Harry is Dudley running up and down the stairs just to bang on him. And then when he gets up and Miss Petunia, however you say her name, Aunt Petunia, she's like, get the fucking breakfast started and don't burn it. And I'm like, lady, what the hell?
Why don't you just cook the breakfast and try not to burn anything?
Here's how you know that they're actual pieces of shit, and they live for this because they have the chance to get rid of the kids. They have the chance to get them out the door. Someone's like, yo, we'll take him.
For the entire school year. For the entire school year.
They're like, nah, then who we gonna torture? And who we gonna fucking beat up? These dudes, they are pieces of shit. And I will say this, if we're talking about the movie, sometimes you can tell where they really put their effort in on the visuals and where they didn't. Because some of the transformations in like when McGonagall with the cat in the very beginning, what the hell? Some of it looks rough, but then when they're playing Quidditch, it looks amazing.
It looks amazing. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
You get me?
And like, so there's one thing for you to explain and say like, yeah, they're just like, it's weird that they actually want to torture this kid, so they're like finding reasons not to hand him over to Hogwarts, but the thing that is absolutely insane is the lengths that they go to which to keep him there. It truly blows my mind that you're going to go on this island where you're freezing and there's no food. And how long do you plan on staying there? Like,
Dude,
what's the end goal here?
How much do you think the cleaning fee for that Airbnb was? Do you think they had him put all the linens on the floor and then charge $200, $350 cleaning fee? Oh, you think it was a verbo? Nah.
There can't be a cleaning fee for that shithole of a place.
Nah, have you done an Airbnb lately? These cleaning fees are outrageous.
Yeah, I actually haven't, which is insane. Dude, I really haven't.
Dude, they're outrageous. And then the cleaning fees, and then they'll still text you a message telling you to fucking wash the dishes.
The sheets and the fucking the pillowcases and shit. It's bullshit.
It makes you wonder. It's like, oh shit, duh, that's why hotels are invented.
Exactly.
I'm paying to not do shit.
I'm not home. I'm not trying to do laundry here.
You gotta pave the driveway while you're over here. But the snake gag, great. Yeah, I love the little envelopes. You get a little bit of the magic, the owls. It's a little bit of the this one specifically, because it's from like the Muggle perspective. All the gags kind of have this like absurdist feel to it. Like there's 150 fucking owls just hanging around. It's like. If it was from like a wizarding perspective and it was at Hogwarts, you just be like, oh, that's just a ton of owls. But now that you're taking it from their perspective, you're like, they are just like looking at 300 fucking owls in their front yard and just being like, shoo. Whereas I would be like, what the f- is going on?
Yeah.
Strong start to the movie, but I'm happy they get through it pretty quick.
Yes. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Obviously, when I do the book review, I'll be talking a whole lot more, but they go into a whole lot more detail in the intro of the Dursleys. You actually get to know each of the Dursley family members a little bit more, actually a lot a bit more. In the actual movies, you really don't know who these people are outside of fucking sadistic animals. Like, they're actually assholes, right? Like, they're the worst. But yeah, outside of the intro, like the beginning of the movie, and this is, I'm just a spoiler alert, I don't know who my favorite character was. My MVP of last time we did Harry Potter, but my MVP this time is Professor McGonagall. Like you said, everyone's favorite teacher, but she's the only one who makes sense in the intro. She's like, these are the worst, like the Dursleys are the worst of the Muggles. Why are we doing this? And she literally straight up asked Dumbledore, and he's like, he's the only family they got left. Well,
Dumbledore is going to take a lot of L's. He's going to take a lot of L's. They're going to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
Decision making.
It's just not there.
The fact that from the word get-go, he's holding him as a baby, and essentially Harry Potter is a blood boy for the Hogwarts and the wizarding world from as a child. You know, like we watched Mad Max and they got blood boys hanging from the side of their fucking cars. That's Harry Potter. Yeah. Harry Potter is a blood boy just hanging around, just stuck up there.
just hanging out. He literally says everyone's gonna know this boy's name in our world. It's like, great. So let's take care of him, please. Next scene.
Just quick Diagon Alley. It's not a really great scene because they don't really explain anything. They just kind of walk right through it. But they do this thing of every young adult orphan trope type thing, where you're an orphan but you're rich.
Of course. Yeah. Why would an orphan be rich?
You ever did like Aragon or whatever, like any of these movies, young adult, it's like Hunger Games. Like at some point they get rich because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of this. I mean, there's no point in being an orphan if you're going to be poor. No one wants to read that shit. No one wants to read about the poor orphan that stays poor. All right, there's no fun. Harry Potter got a Nimbus 99. No one wants that. All right, so. It's always good that they just toss it in there.
This is the scene that really makes me believe the magic from the start of the movie. It's like there's magic around and like there's things that are happening, but like I always notice it's like it doesn't feel like real magic up until they get to the Ollivanders for the actual wand selection process. But like in the beginning, Hagrid is tapping on the walls and that looks kind of cool. The snake thing is kind of cool, but you don't really understand it. But like at Ollivanders, he's like explaining why it's important as to the wand that you receive. So again, like it hit me the same way. I really appreciated that scene. I really like that scene.
I have a question for you.
Talk to me.
This might be a rough question based on the current events, but did you find the Gringotts scene anti-Semitic? Because Taz brought this up as a criticism towards J.K. Rowling, that she purposely made the elves and their features handle money. That's
every Jewish stereotype that has ever been. Yes, of course. When you look at it from that perspective, 1000%. Like if you're saying like this is all of the like the stereotypical things people had described Jewish folks as, and then you paint it without actually saying the words, then yes, as a kid, like if you're watching this as a kid, which we did watch it as a kid, never once you thought of the Gringotts as it's not small people. What are they called? Dwarfs. I don't know what the correct word.
Goblins. They're goblins.
Goblins. I'm sorry. Goblins.
Leave me like little people.
Whatever the fuck not whatever the fuck, but like goblins. You like when you see them as goblins, you're like, okay, the goblins are these people that take care of the money. But I had no idea that that's what people thought Jewish folks were, or the stereotypes of what Jewish folks were, or like. So as a kid, no, but as an adult, it does make you think twice about J.K. Rowling's choice in any of it. It is very, very, very anti-Semitic when you think more than just like skin deep, right? Like when you think about
honestly, she caught me going that way, but then I watched the video by Kanye West and he said there's nothing to it. So
as long as Kanye said it, I'm good. Let's go.
Did you hear what he did? He trademarked the word use.
Wait, what?
YEWS. He trademarked the word use.
Oh shit. Is that going to be his next album title?
I don't know.
Why would this dude?
But this dude is either
antagonizing the world,
committed to the bit. I don't know what's going on, but
that's rough. But I do just about the Gringotts. I did think it really like all of that stuff out of your mind, right? Just like try to remember as a kid watching that scene. It is pretty cool the way that bank works. And like when they explain like no one can ever like sneak in here, it's only the Gringotts that can open these things and like all of this stuff. It is a really cool magical way of doing.
You know what they don't tell you though?
Yeah,
that the goblins have subprime mortgages that they're bundling and selling to people, ordinary magicians like me and you. And not telling us the consequences.
That's the question. That's what we want to find out right here, right now. Maybe that could be the movie they make moving forward.
Yeah, that could do it. Sorting Hat, the Snape intro, Slytherin gets a bad rap, which we got to talk about.
They really
Slytherin gets a really bad rap, and not to sound like a how the people who defend like cops after they brutally shoot and murder a black person, it's just a couple bad apples. but for Slytherin, I think it might actually just be a couple bad apples.
I think so.
Because it's like, there's 500 fucking kids there. If one of them was the Dark Wizard, but I just think that they get a bad rap.
And to follow up on that thought, Mumbury, I really respect the folks in Slytherin because they're like, yeah, fuck it. Voldemort did come from the Slytherin house. Yeah. But motherfuckers, we've been number one for the last 5 years running. Suck on it, right? Like,
if you think they wouldn't be rocking Voldemort shirts like Tupac, like Tupac shirts, number one. Number two, it's like they really make Gryffindor seem like all that. It would be dope if one of the best friends wasn't a part of Gryffindor. Like, I know that she has to do this for like
to make the move.
There's no reason for Hermione to also be in Gryffindor.
Exactly.
Because they can't sleep. I know why Ron's in Gryffindor. Yeah. They can do that shit where like at night
that they could sneak out and shit. Yep.
Yeah. But Hermione, there's really no reason why she's
They should have had her be Ravenclaw.
And also, why do you have to sit with the fucking same people all day?
Exactly.
The people in your house?
It's like it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Yeah. But just to let you know, you did skip over a lot. And then I do have to say, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is the Sorting Hat, right? And what you said about Slytherin is like crystallized in the scene where the hat is placed on Harry. And the hat is like, you can be the greatest wizard if you go into Slytherin, right?
Yeah. Where to put you?
Not Slytherin.
Not Slytherin, eh? Are you sure? You could be great, you know.
To just crystallize that point, it really does get a bad rap, right? And like I don't think it's fair. I really don't think it's fair. Yeah, Voldemort did leave that place, and Malfoy is that like an asshole in the show, in the movies. But I think he kind of just to focus on Malfoy right there, just the scene where prior to them going into the Sorting Hat, and he's
amazing.
Like, oh, amazing. Amazing is an understatement. When he looks at Ron the first time and he's like, I don't have to ask what wizarding family you come from.
I think he's the best. He's the best child actor in the movie.
It's amazing. And he looks at him and he's like, you must be a Weasley. Amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. He's like, some wizarding families you don't want to get involved with. I can help you with that. Come on over here, Harry Potter. Yeah. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So Quidditch plays a huge role in this movie. At least they intro it. They do like the broom flying class. McGonagall, like the great booster she is, immediately grabs Harry. Is like, you're going on the Quidditch team.
Yep.
Now this is what fucks me up, because it's like, this is the classic trope that, I mean, we talked about young adult hero, right? Orphan, right? It starts from the very bottom, but quickly he becomes incredibly rich, and he's one of a kind, incredibly fucking skilled, because this motherfucker, for some reason, just learned about magic 3 weeks ago. He's just starting fucking Seeker for Gryffindor House Cup team. What the hell?
What the hell? Yeah.
He's literally the Michael Jordan of Quidditch.
And the Quidditch rules do really suck, because it's like, it doesn't matter how good you are as long as your Seeker can catch the fucking snitch.
Yeah. And let's be real. Can we fix this motherfucker's eyesight if he's going to be looking for a snitch all fucking day? What are we doing? Get him the fucking... I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah.
You're a wizard. Do you need glasses still?
Right, exactly. Get that LASIK surgery done. Get it taken care of. Stop being silly, right? But about the whole Quidditch thing, number one, I just like as a kid when you're watching the movie for the first time, it's like, oh my goodness, they like on the brooms and shit, right? But as an adult, right, watching this movie, that class for learning how to fly on a broomstick is insane. It's insane.
Come back down this instant.
How are not every kid just falling off of their broom? Because Neville does get on his broom and like flies away, but that must happen like 100 times a day.
Yeah, but these kids, you just break your neck and they just fix that shit.
Oh yeah, I guess it's a good point, but can you imagine breaking your neck, falling from like 15 stories because you don't know how to use a broom? It's insane, man. I don't know. I just think that's absolutely insane. And just a minor point, but a point that I absolutely love. Again, going back to Malfoy, when he has the whole Quidditch game, I guess
there's a scene in the middle between the two.
Talk to me. What scene?
The troll in the dungeon.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't go straight. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know how to feel about this, because it's like a light little action reprieve. It's a weird flow. Learn the Quidditch. They go have dinner. Quirrell comes in, passes out. Troll. They beat the troll with the whole nose and the wand thing. Very childish way to beat a troll. A troll doesn't look great, but I will say this: where the fuck are the teachers?
For real.
How do you lose a troll?
Like,
this
motherfucker, like it's stomping and it like vibrates the entire school. How do you lose that?
I don't know. Like, can y'all spread out?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Again, with Dumbledore's decision making, everyone followed me to the dungeon. Like
single file. Fucking idiot. Jesus.
No, but to just on behalf of the movie, the book, the explanation and the flow makes a whole lot more sense. But if you're just paying attention to like the friend group, that's the only way Hermione can become friends with Ron and Harry, because they go to save Hermione after Ron is like, it's not Leviosa, it's Leviosa, whatever.
Which exactly is an iconic phrase.
Leviosa. Stop. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
So that is the main reason that scene is necessary. I guess it's cool, like prior to the CGI from these days, seeing that troll might not be as bad, but it still doesn't look great. But at the same time, that is what causes Hermione to be like, okay, I respect these two. They actually went out of their way to try to save me, and they kind of risked their lives. So now we have to be a kind of friends.
In the movies, they just seem to just be thick as thieves from the get-go. They're sitting next to each other from the first potions class. from like they're always with each other. They're so you don't get that sense. The book will probably kind of build into it
a whole lot more.
And then like right after that, as you were saying, the Quidditch match. If you want to talk about that, but
there's not much I want to say about it, just because like what you said is like it's just at this point it's like the orphan who did not know anything is now the star player of like the best team in Quidditch. Even in the movie they show this, that they go like Hermione's like, just like your dad, and then they go to the trophy case and they're like, look, your dad won the Quidditch as the seeker in the past, so I guess it's in his blood. But it's very much like
it makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make
their
any
social
sense.
Standing makes no sense, because in every other thing, technically, if you were described, he's a rich white dude with white friends who is the star seeker for the House Cup team, right? And it's like, yo, you're just describing the fucking jock of fucking Hogwarts.
Exactly.
And he killed the Dark Lord.
Yeah. I mean, like he's
already famous. So it's like, how does this motherfucker have no friends?
Exactly.
How does he only have these two friends? Everyone would want to be friends with this dude.
Everybody.
He's literally the greatest fucking Quidditch player they've seen in 100 years.
Yeah.
He killed the Dark Lord. He's rich.
Like, come on. What's going on here? Right?
You gotta gum up the courage to ask Cho Chang. What are we talking about?
Oh man, yeah.
And no offense on Cho Chang. The last half hour, I just kind of run through. They go out, they sneak out, they almost get caught. He finds the mirror, sees his parents. Dumbledore confronts him.
Yep.
What did you think about that scene?
I thought it was okay. I mean, I think it is necessary to have the mirror scene where he gets to see his parents, because the mirror comes back at the end, and it's a big part of how they figure out the whole Sorcerer's Stone situation. I don't know. It wasn't a great scene. Like when you watch, like if it's your first time watching through, it is nice and important, and it gets you into the fields. But on a rewatch, it really is one of those parts where you feel like it's dragging. It's not necessary. It feels just like out there. But like, I understand why it's there. It makes sense in story sense. Just like on the rewatch, it's not. Yeah, it's not there.
And this is like before the finale where they go after the Sorcerer's Stone and they sneak under the dogs and everything. First off, Hagrid got to keep his mouth shut. Second off, just terrible etiquette. Second off, this begins a series-long trope of, well, not trope, but more like pattern of Harry just blindly accusing Snape at every chance he gets. That Snape is fucking the mastermind behind everything.
Yes.
It's Snape. It's Snape. It's Snape. It's Snape. I mean, it turns out it was Snape, but but not in the way he thought. But the twist gets old, I'll say.
It does.
But yeah. They do the great finale where there's tests for everybody. You get to see everyone's greatest parts. And my favorite part is definitely the chess. Live action chess. They set it up nicely with Ron playing chess before and her calling it barbaric. Them having to play chess and him having to do an actual sacrifice.
Yeah.
They set that up nicely. They set up the broom. They set up everything pretty well.
Cherry on top of that scene is that's like this trio makes so much sense. This trio is like the perfect grouping just because they all have different strengths and they could drop Ron.
Let's be real.
I mean, I guess they can, but they couldn't in the chess scene unless. I mean, obviously, I really do feel like Hermione could have figured out the chess situation.
Yeah, me too.
But that entire setup, those like you have to get through these challenges to get to the Sorcerer's Stone, was really nice to see. Harry had the key chasing scene, and another thing about that key chasing scene, just the ending of that key chasing where all the other keys were hitting the door. I just thought that was a really cool thing that they did in the movie.
Yeah.
I really like that shot of all the keys hitting the door after they ran into it.
You're talking about that trio. If I had to pick a big three basketball trio that aligns with that big three, I would do Kyrie, James Harden, and Ben Simmons. And I think you know who Ben Simmons is. I think you know who Ben Simmons is in this. It is. Right? Okay?
Yeah,
so that's how I feel about this big three that we got building here.
Big two, big three. Yeah, I hear you. No, it makes sense because Ron really is. I don't know. Okay. I feel you. I'm just trying to remember the rest of the movies. And like, I think you're right. He really isn't, I don't want to say useless, but he's not that helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really not that helpful.
And that scene ends with it's Quirrell. I don't understand why she made him have a stutter. I guess is it to throw him off, throw everyone off the scent? Like people with stutters can't be villains? Because I feel like I don't know. I feel like villains have stutters. I feel like villains do have stutters, but probably the worst villain. He gets away with it by just being
Harry Potter,
and also no, I'm saying by being like so bad and harmless that you don't even think it's him, but not even in a good way. Like not even in the way that it's like a huge twist to you, like it's a betrayal. It's just like, oh shit, it's Quirrell.
Because Harry is so like, I hate Snape, I hate Snape, I hate Snape. Every time they're in a situation where it's like Snape could be the bad guy, Quirrell is there. And they do that on purpose, obviously. So they like trying to show that. But at the same time, it's like, are you ever going to question Quirrell? Or do you think he's just like getting fucking yanked along by Snape? Because it's like, he's his own. Yeah.
Hogwarts doesn't have fucking LinkedIn. You can't just check in the LinkedIn, the headshot, and be like, yo, this dude's got literally Voldemort on the back of his head.
and like the cherry on top is that it's like he's the teacher of the dark arts, right? Like we talk like this is the guy doing the dark shit, the shit that's like everyone is afraid of. He's the teacher teaching this stuff, right? It's not Snape. Snape is doing his potions. So like at least think about him being the bad guy prior to you blaming everything on Snape.
I just want to know the hiring process. I just want to know, is it like, yo, Dumbledore, you know you owe me $600. You know you owe me $600. But I'll tell you what, I got a mortgage payment coming up. I'll wipe that shit. You hook me up with a job now. You hook me up with that job at that school. I'm really good.
Can I tell you something? Can I please tell you something? I really do feel 100%. That's how Flinch. How do you say his name?
Yo,
that's 1000% how he got the fucking job, bro. Can I tell you this? This is a quote that I wrote down that I absolutely love. When they have the tension, when Finch is walking them over to Hagrid's, this is the quote that he tells the students, the fucking students. Mumbury, just understand this. He says, "A pity they let old punishment die. There was a time where detention would find you hanging by your thumbs in the dungeon. God, I miss the screaming." This is a teacher at fucking Hogwarts.
Yeah.
A dude that misses the screams of students. He has so much glee in his heart when people are in trouble. It's like, how is this someone that you want looking after?
Finch definitely found Dumbledore in a gay club in Berlin in '88 and was like, I got you now. Because that's the only way I see it. That's the only way I see it. Some of these guys, janitors don't have tenure.
Yeah, there's no way, because Dumbledore is that dude that is hiring the worst. And I don't want to say the worst. Like, as lovable as Hagrid is, like you said, he can't keep his mouth shut. And Hagrid's like, Dumbledore's my dude. He's the one that got me here, even though I got expelled. It's like Dumbledore's got some fucking bones in that closet.
It's like, you know what it is? Dumbledore's like Drake, and Hogwarts is like OVO. Like, oh shit, you signed with OVO. That's sick, right? And then you're like, wait, who's coming out of OVO?
Zilch.
Zero, bro.
It's like, hopefully you get a feature from Drake. That's all you can hope for.
McConan, we got McConan coming through. Hogwarts going up on a fucking Thursday, baby. Classic Hogwarts ending. Gryffindor wins the House Cup by the most bullshit endings, bullshit points. Yeah. If I had a bet on the House Cup and I lost because out of nowhere, fucking Dumbledore comes through and puts down like 150 points.
160. 170 because Neville gets 10. 170 points.
I mean, what in the hell?
But Burry, I have to say this. If one of your students in one of these houses defeats a lesser version of Voldemort, don't you have to give him points? Don't you have to give that credit?
Okay, but scale it up. Ron won a game of chess, okay, and almost got killed by some goddamn leaves because he skipped herbology. All right, this motherfucker deserves 10 points, no more, no less.
No more, no less. Yes.
All right, I would give Harry 50, Hermione probably 60 because she actually
Hermione is the best wizard witch. She is the best at fucking Harry Potter game, at the wizardry game. Like she just is. It's just Harry Potter's got the name and the scar and the special skin infused with love.
Should we do a bit where we're like incel male wizarding podcasters? Being like, no woman's ever going to defeat the Dark Lord. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. You need pure tea. You need testosterone, baby.
You need that testosterone,
you
baby.
need that tea running through your wand. That's the only way you can get it done.
But like, I don't know. I mean, I like when you said what you said about Ron, bro. Like,
you won a game of chess.
You won a game of chess, and that really just throws your whole fucking like alpha wizardry hierarchy out the fucking window.
Ron's not an alpha. Ron's not an alpha. That's how you know he's not an alpha.
I guess you're right.
He's not an alpha.
He's not.
Can't do it.
His
greatest dream in life is to win the House Cup.
That's
literally bullshit.
But the kid, listen, remember, these kids right now are 12 years old. In this movie, like 11.
I was once 12 years old. I was an alpha. I never ate fucking chocolate frogs. I'll tell you that.
He was doing it to collect the cards, bro. I know you must have.
I was back with Hagrid. Out in the hut lifting weights, baby. That's what I was doing.
Buying and selling dragons.
Exactly. I said this is my least favorite movie, just to wrap this up a bit. But I think this is the only movie where it doesn't have a specter of evil hanging over it. Whereas once it starts getting to the Tom Riddles and and now Voldemort, they're leading to Voldemort coming back.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's kind of like there's a kid. And it's a Quirrell. He dies by Harry touching him.
And that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so weird.
It's the most childish of the movies, which I get it. He's 11. But the next year he fucking takes down a basilisk. Okay. So gang.
Yeah, it's why he really gets good with that magic. There's a few quotes that I did want to mention. I don't know if Snape is still your favorite character after this rewatch, but I do have to mention this quote, which I absolutely love. It's beautiful. Snape walks into his classroom and he says, "There will be no foolish wand waving or silly incantations in this class. As such, I don't expect many of you to appreciate the subtle science and exact art that is potion making. However, for those select few who possess the predisposition, I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses. I can tell you how to bottle fame, brew glory, and even put a stopper to death." If that's not an introduction to a magic class, I don't know what is. I love that. I really
the thing I wish about this is I wish they put it more. I wish she put more of an emphasis on the potions in this world, because it seems like it's mostly wands and charms and hexes and that kind of shit.
And curses.
And then you only use the potions when it's like, oh, we got to breathe underwater for a bit. Let's do some polyjuice. Let's do some gillyweed or let's do some polyjuice or whatever. But I would love it if it was like, we're hunting the Dark Lord. Let me fucking pop a potion here. If they're actually doing shit like that, when they're fighting and shit, but they don't. They just use the wands, which makes it seem like potions is one of those classes that you do in the 6th grade. And your teacher's like, you're going to have to memorize,
it's like Latin in the Wizarding world. It's like Latin. Right. Yeah. It's nice to have. If you have it, it's good for you, but it's not.
You're never going to have a calculator on your pocket. All right. So you're gonna have to memorize everything. All right. You're gonna have to memorize everything. You think in 10 years you're gonna have a calculator everywhere you go?
Another one of my quotes that I do like, it's Hermione. She says, "Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled." Just appreciate that because it just lets you understand her
priorities.
Her priorities, just her mindset, what she feels, and how dedicated she is to her being the best witch she can, right? She's like a type A student. And then this is one of Quirrell's quotes, but I like it. I really do like it because it's much bigger than just Quirrell. This is like Voldemort speaking. There is no good and evil. There is only power, and those too weak to get it. Hey. I respect that shit. Is okay. And then lastly, in the books, Neville gets a whole Neville is still the bumbly fuck that he is in this movie, but there's a little bit more respect given to him in the books. And I just appreciate Dumbledore. I know this is what put Gryffindor on top to win, but when Dumbledore is giving Neville the 10 points, he does say, "It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends." And this is because Neville tried to stop Harry and the crew going to get the Sorcerer's Stone. So I did respect.
Motherfucker almost brought back the Dark Lord, gets 10 points. Couldn't be me. 10 points to the boy that was such a dumbass. He almost brought back the Dark Lord. 10 points.
When you look at it that way, it does seem wild that you're giving someone points for almost letting Voldemort come back to life.
Just so stupid.
But I don't know. It's like Neville it's a side character. This dude gets the shit end of the stick every fucking time he's on screen all day. So I was happy that he got a little bit of a break. Any final words? Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I think I just want to say it's building into something great. It's building into something solid, and it's just the first step, but we'll get there. This is a great movie. That's a lie. This is a good movie, and that's on to the next one.
Just to follow up on what you're saying, I know you just said it's not a great, it is a good, but I think what you have to understand about this movie, a lot of what it has to do is the world building. So it can't get into the action. It can't get into the character development. It can't get into the nitty gritty that makes you really enjoy movies without you getting and understanding what the world is. And this movie does a really, really great job at the world building. The music in this movie, it just like you hear it and it's like perfect. It's like this is what magic sounds like. It's perfect, right?
It is the simplest movie too.
Yeah. Exactly.
The most straightforward, the most self-contained.
I really, really appreciated that about this movie, that about this first step in this franchise. So if it's not the greatest story, I understand, but it does such a good job of you understanding the world. And like you said, your favorite part of it was the Quidditch. And that's just another aspect of this world that J.K. Rowling and what's his name? Whoever who directed this movie built and made Chris Columbus just made come alive. And it truly did. All the issues you might have with the story, none of it is with the world. It's with what the actions of each of these people are doing in this world, because the world is beautifully set up. The perfect first step into something that is one of the better franchises of our generation. And that's why this is a motherfucking millennial classic. All right. Until next time, next episode you guys see us, we'll be doing Chambers of Secrets.
Sounds good.
Doses.